Hey guys! I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha and I welcome you to my channel. As always, I'm really grateful that you guys are listening, subscribing, and commenting. And of course, if you guys want to support me further, you're welcome to do that on my Patreon link. The link is in the description below. And you're welcome to give me $1 a month, $5, whatever you guys prefer. In this video, I want to speak to you guys about something that a viewer mentioned in passing. He was commenting on one of the videos. I don't remember which one. And his name is Virtual Buick. I don't know what that means. But anyways, he said something like, INFJs are an informational black hole, information black hole. They suck information like a black hole. And I thought that description and the imagery was so apt and so poignant that I wanted to do a video on it because I've noticed this within myself, obviously, as well, and among the people that I interact with who are INFJs. We literally are an information black hole. We have this capacity to inculcate information at a rapid rate, and we just are hungry and curious for information. We're actually very much like children in that regard. You know how children are always asking questions. Why is the sky blue? Why do you do it that way? Why did you turn the sheets this way? Why did you wash that? What did you do that? I mean, there's always questions. They're always asking questions because at that stage, they're learning about the world. They're curious because they don't know how anything works. And I think that we're the same way. We obviously have different questions that we ask. How does the universe work? And why am I here? And what's the purpose of consciousness? And do aliens exist? And we ask questions at a different level, but we're also just doing it for the same reason. We are extremely interested in people around us, in the world around us, in the universe, and we want to understand everything better because we think that the more we understand it, the better we can live in it, right? The more we know about the world, the better we can live in it, right? I'll give you a quick example about this informational black hole. So I was walking with a friend one day and it was raining and we both had our umbrellas. It's Thailand, it's rainy season, so it's normal. Everyone carries an umbrella with them or a poncho if they're riding a motorbike. And so we both had our umbrellas and we're walking around, we're going to a restaurant. And, I suddenly mentioned, just randomly in passing, I was like, I love the smell. And I just love the smell of the ground and the soil and the atmosphere after rain, right? And I was telling her, the word for this is petrichor. And she's like, petrichor? I'm like, yeah, the word for the smell of the earth after it rains is called petrichor. There's actually a word for it. And she's like, how do you even know that? And I'm like, well, I love that smell, right? And I was just Googling it, what is this? Why does it smell like this? And why does it smell exactly the same in every part of the world? No matter where you go in the world, the smell after rain is exactly the same. And I was just curious about it. And I started researching it and I realized it's because of the bacteria. When water falls on them, they start reproducing, etc., etc., right? And so it's called petrichor. And she just looked at me like, she's like, you have a lot of random information in your head. And you're always Googling things, aren't you? You're always searching for information. And I was thinking to myself, yeah, I guess I am. And I just thought that was normal. I thought that everyone does this. I thought that everyone Googles information, things about things that they don't know about, right? I mean, I'm sure everyone's kind of at some point wondered, why does it smell like this after it rains? And then they Googled it and they found the word for it is petrichor and they found out why it rains like that. Why it smells like that. And so for me, it was normal. But when she actually looked at me with that gaze and that confused look and the impressed look, I realized that maybe perhaps it's not normal. And then a lot of people started messaging me saying exactly the same thing. And I realized a lot of people out there are curious. It doesn't necessarily have to do with our INFJ-ness. But INFJs particularly are extremely curious about the world. We are like children that never grow up. We are children in an adult's body, yeah? And that's one of the reasons why we confuse people is because we look adult and we behave like adults sometimes. But then we have this curious, childlike, playful nature to us where we are curious about the world, where we're always asking questions, where we are always inquiring about not only the world, but the people around us. We're always curious. I'm always asking questions of the people around me as well. Why do you do that? What makes you happy? Why did you decide to do this rather than that? I'm always asking questions. And people like, obviously, people who are interested in them. That's why it's easy for us to make friends as well once we decide to do it. That's one of the reasons why I'm always like, no, I'm not really interested in more friends. But I am curious about people. I'm always interested. Why do people live the way they do? Why do they choose the things that they do? What was their reasoning behind it? Because for me, I'm always looking to learn from them, right? If someone chose this particular brand of motorbike versus the other one, I'm always wondering, why did you choose the Yamaha Mio rather than the Yamaha Filano? I mean, I just had to ask this question a couple of days ago. That's why it's fresh in my mind. But I was wondering why. What was your reasoning behind it? Why this versus that? And then the person mentioned horsepower and this and that. And I was like, oh, really interesting. Okay, cool. So that's information that I have tucked away in my head. So if I ever am going to buy a motorbike, I will be able to use that information in order to make my decision. Because I've noticed that a lot of people do a lot of research when they do these things. When they buy a motorbike, some people don't do any research. Some people just buy a motorbike, which is fine as well. But some people do a lot of research. And if I know that you are the kind of person who does a lot of research on something, I will pick your brain on it because I'll be like, I want to know why, so I can use that information for myself. Recently, I switched my email providers. So the people, the company or the software that I use in order to send my emails out, my weekly emails out on my website, I changed them recently because the one I was using was expensive and not really worth it. But then I was like, I don't know which one to choose. So I went online and I started looking at people who do a lot of research, and a couple of them mentioned this particular one that I use right now. And so obviously I was like, well, you do a lot of research. You've probably done your work. I read all the comments that you had on why you chose this particular item. Cool. That's it. I'm going to choose this one. And I moved and it worked out perfectly for me. Okay? So that's what we're interested in. We're interested in improving our lives, improving our perception of the world, improving our understanding of the world and the people around us. And the way you do that is through questions and through Google. Google is great for that. If you have no one to ask questions to, you can just ask questions online. You can go to forums and ask questions, or you can go to Facebook groups and see what questions are being asked and then read that. I spend at least a few hours a week or a month, going on these Facebook groups that I'm part of and just looking at it. For example, I'm part of this Chiang Mai Facebook group, right? And so in order to learn more about Chiang Mai and to learn new things that are popping up, I will go on there once a month or once a week, and I'll just check out what the different posts are like. And I'll learn about Chiang Mai that way. So I'll learn, this is the new thing that's happening, or this is a new restaurant that's up, or nowadays they have motorbikes that are taxis rather than just cars. So now you can Grab is the name of the Uber that we use in Thailand. And so now you can grab a motorbike rather than a car, which is awesome, a motorbike taxi. And I wouldn't have known about it unless I went on this Facebook group and saw that the girl was commenting saying, I love it, I really like it, you guys should try it. That's how I knew about it. So this is what we're doing. We're constantly tucking away new pieces of information that we learn into our brain because we know eventually in the future, sometime, somewhere, we will be able to use this information, right? Some information is useless, so we don't really care about it. We don't care about reality TV shows. We don't care about what's going on. I don't care about what's going on in football, so I really don't pay attention when people start talking about it. I'm not a big movie person, so when people start talking about movies, my mind switches off. So things like that, sometimes our mind does switch off because we don't care about that shit. So we're like, all right, cool, you guys talk about it. I'm just going to let my mind wander. Sometimes something perks me up and I'm like, oh, I really like this information. I like what they're talking about. I want to hear it. I want to learn more about it. And so I'll really get interested and focused when something is happening that I'm interested in. For example, recently I was walking around with a friend and all of a sudden she started talking about God. And recently I've had a big interest in God. Well, who is God? What is God? Why should we believe? So all this stuff in it, right? I'm asking these questions of myself. And so she started talking about God and how she's been thinking about God and what her persona is, even though she was an atheist for the longest time, which is what I think I was at. Maybe not atheist. I was agnostic. So I was spiritual for the longest time. But all of a sudden, I'm able to hear the word God without feeling that cringy feeling. Not religion, but God. And so I perked up and we had a long conversation about it because I asked her a billion questions. Why is she interested in it? What questions is she asking? What does she think about this? What does she think about that? How did she research it? What books did she read, right? And so you actually recommended a book called Conversations with God to me. And so I obviously got that book and started reading it. Now that's how we look at the world. That's how we live in the world. We are information black holes. We are interested in bringing as much information into our head, into our heart, into our body, into our spirit, so that we can improve ourselves. And we're always constantly looking to better ourselves. And this is how we do it. We do it through information. Information is the key for us. The more information we have, we think, the better off we will be, the better we can live our lives. The more information I have about doing YouTube videos, the better I can be at doing them. The more information I have about living in Chiang Mai, the more easier my life will be here. The more information I have about being environmentally friendly, the better I can be, and the greener I can be, and the kinder I can be to the world. Things like that. So that's all it is to us. Information to us is treasures. It's precious. We use it in order to live a better life in general. Thank you so much for listening. I'm so grateful to you guys for everything that you guys have sending me, all the love and the energy. I appreciate so much. Again, you can contribute more if you guys want by going to my Patreon link. And I shall see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.